Welcome our beloved viewers to RT's News English edition. As usual, we'll begin tonight's news with the major and top highlights as follow. Distribution of the second tranche of the 2022 orphans sponsorship by the Ministry of Wealth. And on the international scene, floods in California, Joe Biden declares a state of a major disaster. Those were the major and top highlights. Welcome back to our newsroom, our beloved viewers. The Prime Minister, Mr. Abdel Ghadir Kamil Mohammed, visited Ali Sabih yesterday to take part in the activities of the week dedicated to solidarity and social action. A huge crowd was waiting yesterday in Ali Sabih, the visit of the Prime Minister at the head of a large ministerial delegation that took part in the festivities of the National Week of Solidarity. Arriving late morning, the Prime Minister was welcomed by the Minister of Social Affairs and Solidarity, surrounded by his peers of Economy and Finance and Decentralization, Interior, as well as the authorities of the region, in this case, the Prefect of the city of Ali Sabeh. The President of the Regional Council, Sharmanki Hassan Alale, among others, at the headquarters of the Regional Council of the city, the various as a joke people who spoke did not fail to thank the Ministerial Department of Solidarity, which has done a remarkable job, especially in the field of self-nutrition of women and all the assistance it provides to vulnerable population. In turn, during their different interventions, the women and the notables encouraged the minister and her teams to multiply their efforts and that the fight against poverty is far from over. The Minister of Economy and Finance, Mr. Ilyas Musadawali, who first spoke, said that the difference is obvious after his visit to Ali Sibih last year when the region was hit by an unprecedented drought. We got out of it thanks to our solidarity policy, which has proved its worth, said the minister. He added that thanks to the Ministry of Social Affairs and Solidarity, the women of this region are more autonomous, and the multiplication of income-generating activities of young people shows that young Asajok people are taking their destiny in hand. This is what makes Ali Sibih a pole of economic development. The Ministry of Social Affairs and Solidarity highlighted the achievements of MAS in recent years. The ADDS, through its multiple achievements and interventions to strengthen, she said, the market and non-market infrastructures. At the educational level, to name but a few, several colleges, schools, and the monasteries have been rehabilitated or built in Ali Sabih and its localities. The Prime Minister, Mr. Abdel Ghadir Kamil Mohammed, who closed the series of interventions, said that the government has a multitude of ongoing projects that require qualified human resources. We have the will to go very far in our development because our will is unshakable, said the PM. At the end of the ceremony, the Prime Minister and his delegation proceeded to a series of stone laying on what used to be the spelland of the old railway station of the city of Ali Sabih. This is a first of a series of shops, then a nursery and a regional laboratory for the building. This project will be executed by the ADDS. The shops enters within the framework of the missions of the Ministry of Social Affairs and Solidarity to impose the dynamics to the economic activities and thus constitutes a true tool for self-nomination. When the regional laboratory of the building, it is the first of its kind in the regions of the interior, and it will be set up to enter in phase with the extension of the city, which does not cease growing. At the end of this ceremony, our team on the set was able to collect several actions, including that of the Ministry of Social Affairs and Solidarity, Mrs. Uluf Ismail Abdo, who was happy that she was in Ali Sabih. The following was the Prime Minister, His Excellency Mr. Abdul Ghadir Kamil Mohammed. He was just after the ceremony, marking the laying of the foundation stone of a series of shops, then a nursery and a regional laboratory for the building. The president of the APZFD, Mr. Abu Bakr Umar Hadi, received this morning the president of the Somali region of Jubaland, Mr. Ahmed Mohammed Islam, at the head of an important delegation of his administration, which began a visit to Djibouti. The president of the region of Jubaland was welcomed first of all within the management company of the container terminal of Dorali SGTD. The head of the company presented explanations on the terminal and its potential benefits for the country and in particular for the region to the president of the region of Jubaland, Mr. Ahmed Mohammed Islam, and the accompanying delegation. Then the delegation headed to the DMP, where they were welcomed by the director of the DMP, Mr. Jama Ibrahim Darar. The latter presented to the president of the region of Jubaland, Mr. Ahmed Mohammed Islam, explanations on maritime transport and its transshipment activities. Finally, the president of the region of Jubaland, Mr. Ahmed Mohammed Islam, went to the International Tower of Djibouti, where he was welcomed by the president, Mr. Abubakar Umar Hadi, and his close collaborators. A warm welcome was reserved to the president of the region of Jubaland and the delegation that accompanies him to his arrival at the tower. A meeting was held in the large room. The visit of the president of the region of Jubaland was to take the different port infrastructures took place in the presence of the Ministry of Health, Dr. Ahmed Roble, as well as the president of the ports, Abubakar Umar Hadi, and his close collaborators. Sponsoring an orphan is undoubtedly a noble and crucial gesture to strengthen the bond of solidarity that unites us all. Better still, sponsorship constitutes for Islam, this religion that we all cherish, a beneficial investment for a better reward in the hereafter. So every year on the same day that Diwan Zakat Foundation proceeds to the distribution of sponsorship collection, it is in this sense that this morning Diwan Zakat Foundation held at the People's Palace a ceremony of distribution of the second installment of the sponsorship collection of the orphans of the past year. Placed under the aegis of the Ministry of Muslim Affairs and Waqfs Mu'min Hassan Bari, this ceremony took place in the presence of several members of the government, the Director General of the Diwan Zakat Foundation, Suleiman Hussein Musa, the Director General of Waqfs, Mr. Elmi Nur Jama', the ulamas of the country, as well as the beneficiaries of the sponsorship collection. The event is a guarantee of success and has become a typical charity event over the years. Each year, 100 orphans accompanied by their guardian try the splendor of the People's Palace to attend these traditional ceremonies to give back the small tower orphans, certainly, but not only. The meetings answer the concern of the society to its attachment to the principles of Islam. The sponsorship ensures through the support of the tents to support an orphan to the tithing and consolidation of social cohesion. The merit is undoubtedly due to the President of the Republic, who had the idea in 24 to set up an organization in charge of collecting the zakat in accordance with the prospects of Islamic law. This institution serves as an intermediary between the benefactors and the various categories of legitimate beneficiaries throughout the Republic of Djibouti. The distribution of the collection of this second installment amounts to 17,400,000 Djiboutian francs for a total of 1,106 households with an orphan residing in the city of Djibouti. Speaking in turn, the Ministry of Muslim Affairs and Waqfs, Mr. Mu'min Hassan Bari, stressed that the program of sponsorship of orphans has become one of the most important programs conducted by the ministry since its inception. And this is as part of the social policy and comprehensive development sponsored by the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Umar Gelle. On the sidelines of the work of the 13th session of the Assembly of IRNA, International Renewable Energy Agency, which was held in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates from January 13 to 15, the Minister of Energy in charge of Natural Resources, Mr. Yunus Ali Gidi, participated yesterday afternoon in an annual high-level meeting of member countries of the Global Governmental Geothermal Alliance. The objective of this meeting was to allow the member countries of the said alliance and its partners to reflect on the activities to be undertaken and to discuss the strategic approach to be adopted in the development of geometrical energy for the coming years. Mr. Yunus Ali Gedi took the opportunity to present to the delegations and investors present the significant advances. Finally, it should be noted that the Global Geothermal Alliance is a multi-platform whose mission is to strengthen dialogue and technological cooperation between countries with high geothermal potential, as well as with all the stakeholders involved in this sector by coordinating their actions to promote the development of a geometrical energy worldwide. With the approach of the legislative elections scheduled for February 2023, the National Communication Commission, which is also known as CNC, organized a consultation meeting this morning on the conditions of media coverage during the campaign with the heads of the various media in the country. The meeting brought together around the same table the directors of the media, of the written press, and the audiovisual press, namely the president of the CNC, Mr. Ali Mohammed, the general manager of the RTD, Mr. Adan Abdi Jama, the general manager of the Djiboutian Information Agency, Mr. Abdul Razak Ali, Director of the Nation, Fahim Ibrahim Ali, the representative of the newspaper of Al-Qarn, and several other officials of the National Communication Commission and delegate of the Ministry of Communication. The President of the CNC, Mr. Ali Mohammed Dimbio, opened the session while explaining the purpose of this meeting. Then the representatives of the national media took the floor in turn and expressed their thanks to the President of the CNC for having to organize this constitution meeting to put in place all the necessary arrangements to ensure good media coverage of the elections. In his speech, the director of the RTD, Mr. Adan Abdi Jama, informed his colleagues that the RTD has already organized preparatory meetings on the upcoming coverage of the legislative campaign to ensure media coverage during campaign and the day of the vote. I suggest that you welcome the address of the President of the National Communication Commission before passing on the reactions of the other managers, he concluded. The Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces General of the Army, Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, chaired this morning the award ceremony for the 2022 sports season, an individual and collective. This ceremony, hosted by the Corps Commander of the Armored Regiment, Colonel Daher Hassan, started very early and was held at the Humbuli Technical and Tactical Instruction Center of Camp Sheikh Usman. The Chief of the Defense Staff, the Deputy Chief of the Defense Staff, and the Director General of the National Police, as well as the senior executives of the Djiboutian Army, were also present to attend the presentation of the trophies.
mada ugubiyo calankiyo arladu kiyayirkanayeen
The colorful day saw the participation of footballers, volleyball players, and athletes of the Djiboutian Army who won hands down from the various competitors in which they took part during in the year of 2022. Among these achievements stand out the successive victory of the Djiboutian Army footballers during the national championship on 8 occasions, the obtaining of an Olympic scholarship for 6 athletes of the Djiboutian Army thanks to their remarkable performance. The record of the Grand Bara formerly held by Ahmed Saleh for 38 years has been beaten by the second lieutenant Fattah Ismail Ibrahim. The impressive victory of the title holder of the year 2021-2022, the team of the military school during the annual soccer tournament of the Djiboutian Armed Forces. Finally, the Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces was keen to congratulate and encourage each of the winners of the international, regional, national, and military sports games by means and trophies on presents given to the various winners.
calankiyo arladu kiyayirkanayeen ma ogtahay askariyo inaad tahay taalkii gobaanimada ugubiyo calankiyo arladu kiyayirkanayeen ina tahay awoodii lagu aarsanayay ma ogtahay askariyo ina tahay awoodii
In a very friendly atmosphere that the folk group Harbi led the rest of the ceremony to the rhythm of the fields and traditional and ceremonial military choreographs. Finally, the ceremony which took place at Camp Sheikh Usman, the internal resting place of His Excellency the late El-Hajj Hassan Guled Abtidon, father of our nation, ended with the song tribute paid to him. Let's watch.
عطلوك يا عيالو استوي عافي مالو وقتول bulshaan caadada nabad lagu hayana calaamaadti loo sameeyo cawaalow dhulkayo hooyo wabayrugay turkayo cayaaraha waa
اللهم صل على محمد اللهم صل على محمد دنبينا الله دافو مغفرية دنبي داف الله نسيو halka xafladda aan ku qaban isbax Allah ka yeelo muraad gurgulaha laga laha Allah noo aqbalo ruubi waxaan galnaa Allah naga dhaafo xasanaad wixii aan galnayna Ilaahay subhanahu wa ta'ala Allah noo aqbalo waalidtoodii wixii irqiya abku xalil wixii buriye bari naga dhalo Allah u naxariisto aabihi ummadda xasi gulid Allah u naxariisto شيخ البلاد مارتان شيخ اسماء الله ونحريصه كما عادة كجرا ودم قبرها الله والنور إنك لله سبحانه وتعالى كل محبية عسي شرف وضن الله ينقدقه دل كين كي الله سبحانه وتعالى هرور الله ينقدقه إنك لله سبحانه وتعالى قلبك الله مديو مديكتين الله مديو إلى أصلاهم كبرني خير ما تما كبرني شر ما تما كمان قال لي مصايب كاديو صعي آفات كله تقال له حنون الله نكرم مريم
Gears towards the international scene now. U.S. President Joe Biden yesterday declared a state of major disaster in California, where further bad weather is expected after 3 weeks of unprecedented rainfall that killed at least 19 people. Joe Biden ordered a federal grant to help residents and communities in that state repair damage caused since December 27th by severe winter storms, which caused flooding, landslides, and mudslides, according to the statement from the White House. Well, by this, our beloved viewers, we finally conclude this edition. Thank you for being with us, and make sure to tune in later for more. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you once again.